Alright, what's going on, guys? Francis back here. Drive in Dollars. Thank you guys for watching, man. I love making these YouTube videos and I love having a little community to talk to in the comment section, and also a place for me to kind of just stretch my wings in terms of all the financial and stock stuff. So thank you guys for watching and subscribing. One of the subscribers put on a request for me to go over one of the stocks they have, really speculative, and I thought this would be kind of a good opportunity for me to give you guys a sneak peek on how I do like preliminary research for stocks. It's definitely not comprehensive, but it is a really good way to kind of get started on like getting to know a company, the qualitative data, the quantitative data, and kind of like a jumping pad for where the rest of your research for the stock is going to go. So the subscriber that requested this, the stock is called CHRS. The company is called CHRS Oncology Incorporated. So they're a biopharmaceutical company that makes cancer medications. Relatively speaking, it looks like they're still earlier on in production. They haven't been around for too long, it looks like. Let's see. You guys should be able to see my screen now, but it looks like this company was started in November 2014. And so I'll share my screen with you guys. You guys can see CHRS Oncology right now. CHRS is trading at 90 cents a share, super speculative. You can see back here near inception in 2015, it was 35 bucks. And ever since then, we have been down 94% on the stock. So definitely really speculative. So the first thing that I do is you guys can see in the top right, I just go on ChatGPT. AI is such a good place for all the information to just kind of be presented to you, and you can just ask for what you want and you can see, and relatively speaking, it's pretty trustworthy. Of course, always do your due diligence, and whenever you want to take a deeper dive into a particular detail, you can keep asking ChatGPT, but that's usually when I transition to going to outside sources, going to the source of where ChatGPT is getting this stuff itself, and of course the company website. And so I just put, tell me about CHRS Oncology and the CHRS stock. So I want to know what the company is, and I want to know about the stock, right? Because I don't know anything about this yet. And so it gives me the stock chart. Awesome. I can see the high, the low, when it started, current price. And let's see, it gives me the company overview. So it's CHRS Oncology, it's in California, and then we make cancer medication. And if you guys didn't know, I won't tell you what I do, but here's a little hint for you. So this is a little bit in my realm. So I love that this guy told me to take a look at a biopharmaceutical company, because I got a pretty good amount of context in terms of this stuff, although I am not an oncologist. Regardless of which, I have some preliminary knowledge about this stuff. So let's go in. So it looks like their primary product is something called Loqtorzi, which is indicated as a cancer medication for NPC, or nasopharyngeal cancer of here. All right, and then looks like they have some other medications that are still in the pipeline. So casdozokitug, another one, and that's for lung cancer. We got the CHS 114 and CHS 1000. That's just when the medication doesn't have a name yet, because they're still pretty early in production. But it looks like those are also meant for cancer therapy. Financial snapshot. Total revenue for the company looks like we're around $200 million right here. Net income, we're functioning at a loss of $121.8 million. So that's kind of bad, because you can see here that our total revenue is 200 and our net income is 120, or our net income is negative 120. That means the expenditure, the costs of this company is insane, and we'll get more into that once we look at the deeper numbers of the company. But stock performance, we kind of already know this stuff because it was on the stock chart, but 52-week range, relatively big on a percentage wise, right? From 0.66 to 0.243, pretty big volatility in the stock. That's what you're going to expect when you're doing these penny stocks that are super speculative. Market cap, $98 million. Pretty low. If you guys know what market caps are usually for companies that are more established, 98 million is really tiny. And then we don't even, it says the forward PE is negative. Honestly, if a company is not profitable yet, PEs don't even matter, because since it's a speculation, there's no income, there's no earnings for the company to be evaluated on. So don't even worry about like PEs that are negative. They are inconsequential. They don't matter. Don't worry about it. So market outlook. commercial traction. So it looks like here they only have one medication that's actually FDA approved to be used already for treatments of cancer or treatments of anything. So they literally have one revenue source, and it's LOQTORZI. So all of their sales, all of their revenue are coming from this thing, from this one medication that treats one kind of cancer. So right off the bat, I don't like that, right? You're a whole pharmaceutical company. You're producing multiple medications that you're trying to get into clinical trials, try to get cleared, make the tweaks that you need, get FDA approved, and get into treatment. So essentially, everything is riding on the backs, as of right now for this company, on LOQTORZI's success. I mean, granted, okay, great for the company that they got one through, but you know, we talked about those 3 other medications up here, these 3 right here, the 2 CHSs and the CAS. Those 3 are still in production and not bringing any money. All they're doing is costing the company money because it's research and development and trial, right? So right off the bat, one medication making money, 3 of them sucking money from the company. I don't like it. And so let's dig a little bit deeper. I kind of just looked here, is LOQTORZI FDA approved for treatments or just trials, because I wasn't clear with that. So it is actually already cleared for trials. It can be used as a standalone treatment or with other chemotherapy medications. Doesn't matter. I was just kind of like doctoring out on this a little bit. I just wanted to see what's going on because I'm not an oncologist, and these medications that are in cancer are quite they're quite complicated, especially with the mechanisms of how they work in the body. So I just had a little bit of curiosity for myself. And so I wanted to see, do they have any other medications that have been approved like for human trials? And it looks like the CAS is already on a multi-phase for human clinical trials. So that's good. They've already been cleared. They already made the medication. Now we're just seeing how it works in terms of people who have, the particular cancer that it's trying to treat, which is particular lung cancers. Oh, it looks like renal and hepatocellular. So that's blood and kidney cancers as well. So lung, kidney, and blood cancers. Oh, no, hepato, not hemo. I read that as hemo. No, hepato, so that's liver. So lung, liver, and kidney. And so it looks like it's getting tested both as monotherapy, meaning we're going to treat it with just this medication standalone, or with combinations with other biologics, so other chemotherapy, other cancer medications. And so we don't have information on that yet. Even if there was preliminary information on a clinical trial, it doesn't matter financial wise. The only thing that matters is the clinical trial successful, and then we get that FDA approval. I mean, because it's like everything's riding on FDA approval. If it doesn't get FDA approval to get used in human treatments, no one's gonna buy it. It doesn't mean anything for the financials of the company and overall the success of the company. So I don't even care. But it's nice that we have something that's in the pipeline of, we're on the human trial phase. And then it looks like they're still in, let's see, evaluated as both monotherapy and combination, early proof of mechanism, early clinical next steps, active dose levels, and gastric not top line. Sorry, I'm just reading this like bottom stuff right here. Oh no, this is. So it looks like we have 2 medications that are in human trial. So the CHS 114 is also in human trial, but it looks like it's in an earlier phase than the CAS. So that's good. This one's in phase 1, the other one is in phase 2. And then of course LOQTORZI, which is already bringing in revenue because it's already actively being used in cancer treatments out in the wild in the medical field. So that's great. And so after this, I looked at what medications are in the pre-trial phase, right? So I looked at what's FDA approved, what's in human trial, and then what's in the pre-human trial research and development still. And it looks like we got CHS 1000, just that one. And so after that, I wanted to look at, okay, let's look at the numbers now. So I kind of got a gist of the company, right? I know we're looking at a biopharmaceutical company, but take this into, let's say if you're doing Nike stock and you have no idea what Nike is. I want to put, tell me about the Nike company and tell me about the Nike stock, all right? Gives you an overview of the Nike stock and gives you what the company is all about. And then you find out like, oh, they sell shoes and apparel. Okay, like what are the growth levers for this company? And what items do they have for sale that's like the biggest thing that's making the company money, etc., etc. So kind of just do the similar kind of research that I did with the qualitative stuff here with the biopharmaceutical company. Just switch medications for shoes, you know what I'm saying? And then kind of like once you're going through the preliminary research, the the research is going to tell you what to keep on researching, right? Because the more you look into the company, the more questions you'll have as to like, what is that? Or like, how many of these do you have that's in this phase or in this phase? Kind of like in Nike, it's like, okay, like what are the historical like shoe lines that they've made, and then like how have been the success of that, like what shoe things are they going to do in the future, etc., etc. It's like fill that into like other companies that you may be researching. And then so after this, I wanted to see the numbers, right? So I told ChatGPT, give me a table of the last 10 earnings calls and how much they beat and miss by. This is what I do for every company that I start researching. And it looks like here, you know, EPS is negative because we're not profitable. It looks like they're beating it by like a good amount and then miss it by a massive amount. So it's all over the place. Like look at this beat and miss right here. It's insane. And so it's super volatile. So why is that? It's because you don't know how. So the way EPS and earnings expectations are calculated is from analysts and what they think the next future quarters are going to be, you know, how much the company is going to make and how much they're going to spend, blah, 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 blah. And so when it comes to specifically biopharmaceutical companies, it all rides on the fact that whether or not the medications are FDA approved or not, right? Because that completely changes the valuation. Like with their medication Loqtorzi, before that, how are you even gonna like analyze and expect what the revenue is gonna be, because there's no medication that's gonna bring in revenue, and then suddenly one quarter, snap, you get that FDA approval to be used for human, not human trials, but human treatment for the cancers. Suddenly the revenue is gonna shoot up because like now they went from zero revenue to a couple million or a couple tens or hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue. And then after that, like, how do you know how many people with nasopharyngeal cancers are gonna come up? And then how many of them do you know are gonna get this treatment? And since it's a new medication, how many oncologists are gonna adopt this medication in their repertoire of medication that they're gonna use for the treatment? So like there's so many variables, and so that's why the earnings expectations and then beats and misses are just all over the place, because it's so hard to kind of predict, right? Like you can predict that there's going to be more t-shirts sold and shoes sold in Nike near Christmas time. Like there's no, like suddenly shoes appear and then the revenue is up, and then suddenly they stop selling shoes. Like it's not like that. So biopharmaceutical has some nuance in it, like what I just explained. And so here's the financial trends. I don't care about that. I want that in a line chart. So I asked it, give me the revenue of the company. I'll show you up here. It's right here. Give me a line chart of the last 10 quarters of revenue, how much money they make, expenses, how much money they spend, and net income, which means how much profit do we actually make at the end of the day after we spent all the money and made all the money. And so I want to see it on the line chart because I like seeing the trends of it. It's easier for me to visualize. So here's the chart right here, guys. So last 10 quarters, it looks like orange line here is expenses, and you can see, it is through the roof. And then we have revenue. Looks like it's kind of just been stable in this area, and then really took a dip around here. I wonder if their Loqtorzi sales have gone down. Maybe nasopharyngeal cancers are going down since people are slowly starting to stop smoking. Who knows? Maybe when all the vape Gen Z kids hit the nasopharyngeal cancer age, this is gonna start shooting up. So if you're long on CHRS, that might be a good play. And then we got net income all the way down here and right here under zero. So we are definitely rocking a negative right here. And so after seeing all of this stuff, what do I think about CHRS Oncology? Well, it's extremely speculative, because this chart, like let's just go with this chart, right? Looks like our revenue is really down, and then of course the expenses are way above the revenue, because we have a bunch of medications that we have to keep developing, and they can't stop doing that. It's not like they can cut costs. Like you can't cut costs, because the way that this company is going to survive and thrive and be successful is if they have multiple medications that go into human treatment. So they have like those millions and billions of dollars of revenue from selling medications, right? So like we can't just write it on one medication and support this whole company all on Loqtorzi. It's not going to work. That's not how pharmaceutical companies are going to be able to survive. And so this revenue is down. So obviously we need this revenue to go down. Or, I mean, we need this revenue to go up. And the only way that's going to happen is if they continue spending, developing, trialing medications, tweaking them, and then getting them into FDA approval. And so we don't know when that is going to happen, because we can't predict whether or not a medication is good or a medication is safe or they get the FDA approval. Of course, we can track it little by little, and probably like the speculation of the company is going to be less and less as the medications get closer and closer to FDA approval. But until we hit that FDA approval, you're not making money on this. Like, let's say the one of those CHS drugs go from research and development, right? It's in the research and development phase. Then it goes into human trials. Stock price is probably going to go up because there's a bigger chance that it's going to bring in revenue, but it's still not bringing revenue. Then it gets cleared from the human trials. Now it's on the FDA table for the FDA to clear and sign everything off on it. Stock price is probably going to go up because the speculation is a little bit less, because there's a higher chance that this is going to get FDA approval and bring in revenue, but it's still not bringing in revenue, right? It's still pure speculation at that point. And then, you know, once it actually goes through FDA approval and then it starts making sales, then it's going to reflect in the stock price, like, actually, because the revenue will go up from there. And so really, it's, what do I take away from CHRS, from CHRS Oncology? I would not put my money in it. I would not put my money in it, because even though they've had success in that previous drug, it doesn't mean that they're going to have efficacy in the new drugs that they're making. And let's say they do, right? Because they have a pretty good team and they had like that Loctorzi success, so they know how to like bioengineer more drugs that are good. When is that going to happen? Is the company going to survive this 90-cent phase before we even get to the point where they have another medication get cleared? Because like, here's an actual possibility with a company that's 90 cents a share. They can go bankrupt before they even have the opportunity to get another med out there and generate some revenue and hopefully actually become a profitable company. There's another thing. It's not a profitable company. It's net negative. It's just eating money every quarter. And so shout out to the guy who brought this to my attention. That is what I think of CHSRS. If you see this, comment down below what you have seen in your research. You know, this is just pretty preliminary. I'm probably not going to move further in my research for this, because just even from the preliminary search, it's looking pretty bleak. But hey, you know what? I'll keep it on my watch list and see what happens with it over the next year, because, you know, I'm not saying that they're not going to be successful. I just don't like the odds of betting my money that they will be. But let's say like they have 3 medications that get cleared for FDA approval, their expenses go down because now they have success in these, so they'll just like spend the money for R&D and transition it to marketing these 3 cancer drugs. Then they're gonna shoot up, but that's super speculative at this point, and I hope that happens to all the CHRS shareholders out there. But yeah, hopefully you guys took away something from this video, either from what I think of CHRS, as well as like kind of my approach to doing first preliminary research on stocks. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys all watching. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'll do more mainstream stocks here. This is just kind of a one-off that I just wanted to do for fun for the guy who commented, and thank you again for commenting. Guys, like the video. I do this for free. I'm not here to sell anything. I'm honestly not a teacher either. I'm just kind of like giving what's in my brain onto the camera, and I want to hear what you guys think. Tell me I'm wrong, tell me I'm right, tell me you agree, tell me you disagree. I just want to talk to you guys down in the comment section. I always enjoy doing that. Guys, like and subscribe. Remember, do your due diligence like this, qualitative and quantitative data. Empower yourself to make more money. And as always, I'm at work right now, so I can't shout it. Let's make this money.